Hello there, welcome back to my channel. So I thought I would do a little impromptu deck restructure video. I don't have very many decks that I wish to restructure. Usually purchasing a deck, I try to keep it in its entirety and embrace it in its creative wholeness. But every once in a while I come across a deck where I really love and appreciate the art and the creative perspective. However, sometimes coming across certain cards feel like they don't fit, so it interferes with my ability to read without kind of scratching my head and wondering, would this card have been better in this position? So today I'm showing a deck restructure of the Field Tarot. So the Field Tarot is a deck I've had for a while, and I've probably spent maybe the last 6 months restructuring the deck, so reorganizing some of the images to fit the meanings as to how I understand tarot and the way it fits in my mind. And so I spent the last 6 months doing that, and then I've spent maybe the last week and a half actually finalizing it by including the titles that I wish to include. So I'm going to share with you my restructuring of the Field Tarot. This is by Hannah Elizabeth Fofana, and I have watched walkthroughs of this deck before, so I know people appreciate the way that it is as it comes, and I think that's great. I would encourage that, but if it comes down to keeping the deck and letting it go because it's just difficult to work with, then I also encourage trying to work with the deck if you have the time and the creative space to do that, and make the deck work for you so that we can still enjoy the artwork. The book here, the Field Tarot book, I did kind of rewrite just some of my own keywords into the book. Originally, the majors did not have keywords, I believe. Let me just double check that. The majors did not have keywords, but some of the majors were renamed. So what I ended up doing was I gave every single card, major and minors, a keyword, and then I also wrote the name of the major on the card. So you'll see that. I'm going to try to lay this out in different ways so that you can see how I restructured it and why I restructured it the way I did, and that way it would kind of help you see how I was able to change around some of the cards. I think what I'll do is I'll go one by one, and so that you can always compare it with maybe another walkthrough of it as it comes and compare that with how I restructured it. So the full card, the keyword here was beginnings, and again, it's technically not the keyword. The full was renamed to beginnings. However, a lot of key terms I switched from, I'm not sure how to put it, but I switched this from beginnings to begin. So I've switched most terms to action-oriented terms. So it's kind of instructing rather than just describing, if that makes sense. So the full stays the full, and I change beginnings to begin. And then we have the Magician. So for the Magician card, I used what used to be the Perspective and Hanged One card. So this used to be Perspective, which is also known as the Hanged One or the Hanged Man. And I took that card and renamed it the Magician card with my own keyword, Manifest. The High Priestess here, with the keyword All-Knowing. So the High Priestess used to be the Strength card. So this picture here was actually the Strength card in this deck, but I moved her up to the High Priestess. And I think the reason why I like her as the High Priestess rather than the Strength card, one, we're missing the Untamed Lion here, so that is pretty important in a Strength card for me. Also, the High Priestess here is wearing what looks to be a veil across her eyes, so that gives that High Priestess energy, kind of like the thinning of the veil. Whereas the when it was the Strength card, what originally was the High Priestess card did not have any sort of veil in it. So this is the High Priestess, All-Knowing. The Empress card used to be the High Priestess card. So you can see here now, the Empress used to be the High Priestess here. And while that may work as a High Priestess, I felt like she embodied the Empress more, and my keyword for that is Mother Nature, and embodying it as she possesses it by sitting on it. I think she makes a better Empress, and she makes a better High Priestess, if you can see that here. And then we have the Emperor. The Emperor used to be the King of Wands, and I've named that structure. The Hierophant remains the Hierophant, and I keyword that tradition. The Lovers remains the Lovers, and I keyword that fusion. The Chariot remains the same, and I nickname that true will. So doing my own keywords also allows me to kind of practice my understanding of the card, or my current understanding, and that can always change. And just so you know, if ever I want to change something about what I've put on these cards, it's very easy to take nail polish remover and a swab and just wipe it off. So if ever you're worried, I use a permanent marker here, and this is kind of like a, whatever I wrote here is more of a metallic, but it still wipes off easily with nail polish remover. I always suggest testing it. Don't take my word for it, because different cardstock could react differently. But with this more shiny cardstock, I'm able to get away with nail polish remover to erase and rewrote. And I did do that on some cards. So the Chariot remains the same. Justice, I've nicknamed Consequence. The Hermit card, nicknamed Introspect. This was called Fortune, and I've renamed it Wheel of Fortune and nicknamed that Time. So the Strength card used to be the Empress. So if you can imagine, this was the Empress card here, and that has been replaced by this Empress here. So this was the Empress, which I have now renamed Strength. This is now the Strength card, and I've nicknamed it Shapeshift. So this card here is the Hanged One, or Perspective. So the Field Tarot originally named Hanged One Perspective. That was renamed Perspective. And so this card was actually being used as Judgment, but I felt like the upside down reflection here accurately reflects the idea of perspective. And this is a very calming, peaceful, subdued card. So for the Hanged One, or Perspective, I feel like this would embody the Hangman best. Death as Metamorphosis, and that remained the same. Temperance remains the same with keyword Alchemy. The Devil remains the same with keyword Influence. The Tower remains the same with keyword Deconstruct. And as you can see, I'm playing with the keywords here. So these are maybe keywords that may not fit for you, and you may feel like they're kind of a little bit different than what some keywords may be used, but I'm just testing this out to see how this works for me. The Star remains the same, and I've renamed that Hope. So the Moon, I've nicknamed Illusion. The Moon used to be the Eight of Discs. So this was the Eight of Discs card, and I pulled that to rename as the Moon. And just to me, this reflects the idea of illusion. The moon often is an illusory body, celestial body that kind of floats in the sky, and it changes day to day, and it waxes and wanes, and that kind of adds to an elusive quality of the moon. So, and then of course, the dog or wolf here representing the dog and wolf that you would normally see in the Moon card. So the Sun remains the same. I've nicknamed Illumination. Okay, Judgment here, I've nicknamed the Call. And the Judgment used to be the Emperor. So if you can imagine, this here was the Emperor card. And I've made this now the Emperor card. And with this, the Emperor card, or what used to be the Emperor card, and this used to be the Empress card. So the Emperor and the Empress here. But I feel like they best fit as Strength and Judgment, the Call. And you can see here, Empress and Emperor here. So Judgment is the Call. And the Universe card, I've nicknamed Full Circle. The Universe card used to be the Queen of Discs, and this never really made sense to me as the Queen of Discs. So I moved Queen of Discs and renamed her as the Universe. And the reason being is that if you see the Fool here, the Fool here begins anew, naked and moving into the world or on their journey ahead, which is unknown, and ends with Full Circle, the seed of the person beginning. So as if this person came from this wound here. And so I just think it kind of completes that circle rather than what it was before. And you'll see later that the universe card used to be, let's see here. This used to be the universe card here. So you can see how this doesn't really tie into the Fool and just creating that full circle, closing that full circle. So I feel like this best represents that concept there. And the universe just being of a celestial, full body nature, rather than the world, which kind of keeps it really close to home. I feel like this deck does embody a little bit of a more celestial, otherworldly kind of atmospheric vibe. So now we have the Ace of Wands, which remains the same, and energy is the key word that was originally here. So some of the keywords that were originally part of the deck, I still use. Two of Wands, I've nicknamed Searching. That's just my own understanding of that card. Three of Wands, Vision is the original keyword for this card here. Four of Wands, Celebrate. And again, so this was actually Celebration, I believe. And so I've just switched it from Celebration to Celebrate, which is more of a action-oriented word. So that we're not just thinking about the concept of celebration or celebrating, that we can actually participate in the doing of it. Five of Wands, difference. So a lot of people see Five of Wands as conflict, which I do as well, depending on the deck. However, that was not really embodied here, but I do understand that the Five of Wands could kind of mean difference or diversity, just a difference of opinions, different people, different experiences, and that's embodied with the different colors here. Six of Wands as victory. I believe this was originally nicknamed Valor, but I've renamed it to Victory, which I feel like her pose kind of embodies victory more so. Seven of Wands, defend. Eight of Wands, movement. Nine of Wands, resilient. And I believe the original keyword was resilience. 10 of Wands, burden. Princess of Wands, discover. Prince of Wands, adventurous. Queen of Wands, vibrant. And the only one that was changed is the King of Wands for the wand suit. So the King of Wands was originally the Magician card. And you can see here that I've made this card the Magician, which to me accurately reflects as above, so below, and just the concept of manifestation. Whereas this could be a good magician, but I felt like embodying the King of Wands was a little bit better for this. My King of Wands became the Emperor. So the original deck intended this person to be the King of Wands, but I've moved him into the Emperor position. And this was to be the Magician, but I've moved him into the King of Wands position. And this was originally the Perspective Hang One card, which I've moved into the Magician position. So you can just kind of see how that changed. Ace of Cups, love. That was the original keyword here. And I thought I would try it out and keep it. Two of Cups, union. Three of Cups, I've nicknamed from, I've changed it from friendship to fellowship. I feel like fellowship kind of leaves it a little bit broader. Four of Cups, turning inward. Five of Cups, disappointed. And this was originally disappointment, so I just changed it to disappointed. Six of Cups, childlike purity. And this is for me to move away from the concept of nostalgia, because nostalgia, when this Six of Cups would come up and I had that nostalgia word there, it kind of never really fit. So I'm trying something a little bit different, brings the childlike purity. It's the purity, and this card originally was named Innocence. So bringing the purity or the innocence more into this picture here rather than the nostalgic memory. And the same goes for the Four of Cups. I always struggled with the Four of Cups because the word boredom was the one that stuck in my mind first. But I think doing a little bit more research, the concept of from boredom we can turn inward and we can reevaluate things, that hit a little bit more home for me. Seven of Cups, I've nicknamed Desires. Eight of Cups, Journey. Rather than retreat was the original keyword here. To me, the Eight of Cups always embodied more of a journey. We don't know if he's leaving or if he's leaving one place, he's moving on to another place. To me, it just seems more like a journey rather than retreat or, you know, a moving on of sorts. Nine of Cups, fulfillment. 10 of Cups, harmony. Princess of Cups, creative. Prince of Cups, vulnerable. So the Prince of Cups, I struggled with that as well, but after doing much research on this card, I think vulnerability is what embodies the Prince of Cups for me. And originally the keyword for Prince of Cups, I believe, was meditation. Queen of Cups, compassion. And these are the original court cards for the cups. King of Cups, and I put balance there. Now we move on to the swords. So the Ace of Swords, I've nicknamed clarity, or I'm sorry, clarity was already the keyword for this, and I agree with that. Two of Swords, I've nicknamed impasse. I believe it was decision before, and in the past I did see the Two of Swords more of a decision-making card. However, to me, this embodies more of an impasse. I think there are a lot of other cards that can also indicate decision-making. Like some people can see the Two of Pentacles as decisions with the ebb and flow of change in life. Also, we can see Seven of Cups sometimes as a decision-making card. So I feel like the impasse is more concise and clear for the Two of Swords. Also with impasse, there is kind of like this peacefulness to it. I think that is also indicated here. Three of Swords. For me, I've always seen the Three of Swords more as a painful truth. And I say truth because of the sword suit, referring to our thoughts and our beliefs, and painful being the heart or emotional aspect of this card. So to me, painful truth was always the best fit. Four of Swords, I've nicknamed timeout. Five of Swords, losing. I put losing there because loss is something you can experience with the Five of Swords, but also loss is a word that can be used to describe other cards like the Five of Cups. And losing just indicates, I believe the original keyword was a defeat here, but I think it's like the in the act of, so in the act of losing. Best fits for me, rather than already defeated in the keyword defeat. Six of Swords, transition. Seven of Swords, withholding. So withholding is a key term that I've come up with because it is a little bit more neutral. I think the Seven of Swords, it was very easy for me to get stuck on deception or some sort of trickery or secrecy, and it wasn't truly helpful in some readings. So I wanted to find something a little bit neutral. I think someone once came up with self-sabotage or doubt, or kind of like taking from oneself, which I think is helpful, but then I've landed on withholding, which the fox clearly is withholding one sword, and so that seems to be a little bit more neutral and versatile for readings, because the querent or myself can be withholding, or others can be withholding, and it doesn't necessarily have to be this really bad thing. For Eight of Swords, I chose the keyword self-imposed. Nine of Sword, original keyword was fear. I just put in fears, plural. 10 of Swords, I've used the word conclusion. I feel like a lot of other concepts are a little bit too, too much finality, too finite, maybe, I don't know. Maybe this is not that it's a softer concept, but I feel like conclusion really takes into account the sword suit of being of the intellect, the mind, making decisions, clearing negative thoughts, and just trying to think constructively. So conclusion to me is like that final say. And then for the Princess of Swords, I did switch this. This card was originally the Queen of Swords, but I've brought her over to be the Princess of Swords, and she is curious. With the Prince of Swords, I've nicknamed it focused, although something a little bit more action-oriented could have been good. The original keyword is determination. But for now, using this image, I'm using focus because I feel like it best fits this energy here. And the Queen of Swords, I've nicknamed Objective. And this was actually the Princess of Swords. So you can see how I made that switch here. And this was originally the Queen of Swords, and this was originally the Princess of Swords. But I do feel like the Queen of Swords has that more controlled energy, the comfort in being in power, but also being submissive, you know, having that balance there. And just, there's a solemnness here, or a, what's the word? There's an agency here, an autonomy here that is embodied and contained, rather than here, which seems a little bit more youthful, like a youthful energy. And then the King of Swords, I've nicknamed Strategy. And I think that is a lot better than what was there before. Before was, I believe, Authority. Yeah, and it just seems based on his posture, he seems to be strategizing more so. And we have the discs here, Ace of Discs, I've nicknamed the Seed. Two of Discs, I've nicknamed Juggle. Originally the keyword was change. But I feel like change, again, can relate to other cards like the Wheel of Fortune, or even some people use it to describe the Two of Pentacles. So for me, I just wanted to discern it from other cards, and juggle is more the act of adapting or changing. So just kind of juggling fits this best for me. Three of Discs, collaborate. Four of Discs, conserve. So we're conserving that energy. Five of Discs, destitute. Original keyword was destitution. So this is another example of where I just took off that destitution, T-I-O-N at the end, and I've just refined it down to destitute. Six of Discs, generosity. Seven of Discs, patience. And the Eight of Discs, mastery. So the Eight of Discs used to be the universe card, the world card, and I've moved it over to be the Eight of Discs. And I think that best fits here. So you have the Seven of Discs where you're kind of building and cultivating and growing and being patient. And then you have that mastery, which is more upright and directed. You know, there's a methodical approach to the Eight of Discs, which leads to mastery. And then we have the Nine of Discs, culminate. 10 of Discs, legacy. This is kind of a keyword that I've been working on, because to me, the 10 of Discs or 10 of Pentacles has always felt like a legacy card to me, but it does, just like how I've mentioned before, it doesn't always fit in certain readings. And I know that there are other ways I can read this. It's just right now my brain is kind of locked into this legacy, whether or not it fits a reading. So I just need to figure out, you know, what are some other ways that I can see this card, because right now my perspective is locked in the legacy or kind of building of that security. Now the Princess of Discs, I've nicknamed Intention, used to be the Moon, if you can imagine. So the Moon card is now this. And so to me, this card never really embodied the moon, even though there's a nice big moon present, which is lovely. I think having the person present with the flowers kind of detracts from the concept of the moon. And if you see the sun here, see the sun is more the focal point, and there's no person in here kind of distracting from that celestial body. And here in the moon, you would have seen that distraction there. So the focus ends up being on the person. Now in the star card, we don't really have that issue here because, let's see if I can change that. That's better. You don't really have that issue with the star card because the person is facing the star. So the perspective is on what the person is facing, not the person itself. So because it kind of detracts with the moon, I felt like this card definitely embodies the moon and that concept of illusion, or the things we can't see, illuminated. And this card has become the Princess of Discs. Okay, and then we have Prince of Discs, which I've nicknamed Methodical. Queen of Discs, which I've nicknamed Nurture. Now the Queen of Discs used to be the Princess of Discs. So originally this card was in the place of the Princess of Discs. But as you can see, now that I've moved the Moon card to be the Princess of Discs and made this card the Queen of Discs, you can see that more youthful energy here in the Princess of Discs. And the Queen of Discs now embodies the Pentacle energy because she is embracing and holding on to that Pentacle energy. And interestingly enough, when you organize the cards this way, they both have blue hair and they're both facing towards the reader, and the moon is kind of accenting them behind them or above them. So I don't know, I feel like these really work for Princess of Discs and Queen of Discs. And yeah. Now, I want to mention that in the Field Tarot book, it does mention that a lot of these cards has a line painted through here to separate, you know, the sky from the earth. And that was just made so that it felt easier to see yourself in the card, because it gives you that perspective that you're on the same plane as the object or subject. But I think that also helps unify some of the changes made, and that also helps to unify the deck. Okay, last is the King of Decks, which I've nicknamed the King of Discs, which I've nicknamed Security. Okay, just so that you can get a better idea as to how I structured this, because, you know, seeing it card by card might not be as helpful, I figured I'd go ahead and lay out the cards so that you'd be able to see them just kind of like in their suits. So here's the full card of the Magician, the High Priestess, Empress, the Emperor, the Hierophant, the Lovers, the Chariot. So you can see here the Fool, the Magician, the High Priestess, the Empress, the Emperor, the Hierophant, the Lovers, and the Chariot. So really the only changes I've made here is I've brought in this guy as the Emperor, I brought in this lady as the Empress, I brought in this lady as a High Priestess, and I've also changed the perspective or Hanged One into the Magician here. Okay, and now we'll go ahead and see Justice, the Hermit, Wheel of Fortune, Strength, the Hanged One, Death, Temperance, and the Devil. And so you can see here that the only ones I've changed is the Strength card. This used to be the Empress card and I brought it in as Strength. And this used to be Judgment, and I brought it in as the Hanged One or Perspective because of that reflection there. And those are the changes that I made with these cards. Okay, next we have the Tower, we have the Star, the Moon, the Sun, Judgment, and the Universe. And so you can see that here, the ones I've changed, I've brought in this card, which was, let's see, the Moon used to be the Eight of Discs, so I brought in the Eight of Discs to take the place of the Moon. And I brought in this Emperor card. This used to be the Emperor card. I brought it in as Judgment. And this used to be Queen of Pentacles, I believe. Yeah, Queen of Discs. And I've brought her in to take place of the Universe card and create that full circle there with the Fool. Okay, now I will showcase the suits. The Wands, I don't have very many changes to the Wands. We have the Ace, the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I will put 9 and 10 up here. And also Princess, Prince, Queen, I'll put Queen and King. And so the changes I've made here mostly pertain to the King of Wands. So the King of Wands actually used to be the Magician card, but I've moved it here. I think it best fits to pair with the Queen of Wands. And really, he seems to be at home with the Queen of Wands, the Prince of Wands, and the Princess of Wands. Okay, next we have the Ace of Cups, Two of Cups, Three of Cups, Four of Cups, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 9, 10. Then we have Princess and Prince and Queen. Oh, can't really see that. Queen and King. So actually with the cup suit, you don't see very many changes to the cards. It's mostly the keywords that I changed. Okay, now we have the swords. Ace of Swords here. 2 of Swords. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Princess, Prince, and Queen, King. And you'll see here that I switched. This was originally the Queen of Swords, and this was originally the Princess of Swords, and I switched their place, and I think that best fits. So now Queen and King match, their energy matches here with this more contemplative, stoic, contained nature, and the Princess and Prince match a little better with their more playful, kind of bearing all, or not bearing all, but bearing some, and they just seem to have a more youthful, loose nature. Last, we have the discs. So here's the Ace of Discs, 2 of Discs, 3 of Discs, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Princess, Prince, Queen, and King. So some of the only changes I've made here was the 8 of Discs used to be the World or Universe card, and I think this best fits. As you can see here, it kind of goes and falls in line very nicely. And then I've also switched these cards here. So this used to be the Moon, but I brought it in as the Princess of Discs, which I think best fits with this Knight or Prince there, and kind of feels at home in this family here. Also the Queen of Discs, I brought in the Princess of Discs originally. And so I feel like this King of Queen have a much more mature energy, and she embodies a more youthful energy, so Princess of Discs for her. Okay, so just to show you a little bit about the book, and all I did was write in pencil a few of the keywords, and then if I changed the name of certain cards, I made sure to also note that as well. And then for future reference, I did make sure to write down all the changes that I made, just in case I want to go back and switch any of them. But I'm actually really happy as to how this deck turned out. I feel like it makes a lot more sense to me, some of the changes that I made, because, you know, it can be pretty jarring if you're doing a reading and then something pops out that just doesn't fit, like this as the Emperor, for instance. You know, I just wasn't getting that. And your brain goes, oh, but wouldn't this be a good Judgment card? You know, so it creates that hiccup. And renaming and restructuring decks allows you to use them and have that seamless experience, and then really just enjoy the deck, because really for me the deck is about the artwork. You know, this could have been just a deck of pictures, and I could have attached my own keywords and structured it any which way I would have liked. I still appreciate having the creator or writer of a deck kind of do it the way that they see it, and then also have that structured and illustrated in a book for me to reference. I think what made it also easier to restructure this deck is the book doesn't really go into depth about what is seen on the card and kind of like what that means to the author. So it just more so talks about the interpretation or the meaning, and that makes it so much easier for me to be able to see the deck how I'd like to see the deck, so that when I'm reading from the book, if I choose to, it's not countering what is being seen on the card. But you know what I mean. So yeah, that's the Field Tarot. That's how I've restructured this deck. Not sure if other people have restructured the deck out there, but if you have restructured this deck and you've created a video, I'd love to see it, so you can tag me. Or if you've restructured other decks, I'd be interested in seeing those videos as well, because I'm always looking for ideas on how to make a deck more personal. Again, there's not a lot of decks that I choose to restructure because I usually love the deck in its entirety. This deck in particular, I just love the artwork. I want to keep it, but I also want it to make better sense. So I've decided to restructure this deck. Anything here is temporary. Any of this wipes off and can be restored to its original usage or how it was created. But I encourage you to take the creative leap. If there's a deck that's kind of sitting there, even if it has like keywords that don't really resonate with you, you can always just, what I did was just pen over them and create your own keywords. So yeah, I definitely encourage you to take that creative leap and, you know, make it your own. So I thought maybe I'd go ahead and just do a layout here, or a quick reading to show you how the cards would appear. I'm just going to shuffle this really quick. I'm going to go ahead and do a reading so that we can see how this deck plays out. And using the particular spread in the book, I'm going to use the field spread, which is useful for goal-oriented questions or reading deeper into conflict to find resolution. So the first prompt asks, the sunset, what is behind you? And that's good from there. Second prompt is the horizon, what do I want? Third prompt is the road, what will guide me? Okay. Fourth prompt is the mountain, what must be overcome? What must be overcome? And the last prompt is the sunrise, what will be the outcome? So what will be the outcome? Okay. So the cards that I've changed was the card here and the card here. So these other three cards are placed and intended the way that the deck was created. And so what is behind me is the Eight of Swords here, kind of self-imposed thinking, and what I want, which would be what's on the horizon for me, is the Nine of Cups, fulfillment, and the road of what will guide me. So what's on the road that will guide me, that is here in the King of Cups, balanced energy. And the mountain, what must be overcome, is this call to transcend, and the sunrise, what will be the outcome, and the outcome is the Queen of Swords here, an objective outcome here. So I believe as an objective outcome, something I will be satisfied. And that's the field spread, which is by the Field Tarot, a deck by Hannah Elizabeth Fofana. And I'm so happy she created this deck because I truly love it. And I'm glad it's in my possession and that I was able to have the creative space to recreate this deck and make it my own, because now I can use it indefinitely. And now stay tuned for my next creative project, which will be coming up, maybe in the next video, I doubt it though. It'll probably be a few videos from now, but I'll be working with the Coloring Tarot, which is a coloring tarot deck that I picked up, and it's a mass market deck, so you can pick it up on Amazon. What's cool about this deck, it comes with a very nice guidebook here that tucks in. It comes with this pamphlet as far as like coloring options that you can use for the deck if you wish. So just gives you some ideas as to how you can color the cards. And then the cards here, I don't know if you can see, but they're completely colorless and they're waiting for me to have fun with. What I really liked about this deck is the way that the images are illustrated. A lot of them are pretty similar to what you'd see in a RWS deck, but just slightly different. And so I thought this would be a fun deck to illustrate. And the paper quality of this is not good at all. So don't expect anything spectacular. I will tell you, it doesn't have a glossy finish to them. So it is pretty much like a very thick paper, not cardstock, which will make it easier to color, but also not as durable. I may end up laminating these because I do have a laminator if I like how it turns out. But I'll definitely share this project with you. Maybe I'll do like a brief check-in or show it when it's complete. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's just something that I'll be working on as my next project. And thank you for joining me for this video. I hope you've really enjoyed watching and you got something out of it. And yep, till the next video. Bye.